This is Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY. It's sponsored by Independent Bank. We do this every Saturday morning at 8:30. We have put the New Hope Shelter in the spotlight a couple of times over the years on our show, Katie.
Yep, and for good reason. Such important work.
It is. And we have the new executive director, Michelle Munn, with us. And Michelle, good morning, first of all.
Good morning.
And we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff here. Mm-hmm. There's a big fundraiser coming up for you next week. But in addition to that, we want to cover how things are going with your new job. And obviously, the issue of homelessness locally is chief on your mind. So first of all, let's start with how you got the job.
Well, I have worked for New Hope for about 6 years. I briefly left for about 4 months. I was the case manager for 5.5 years. And then the board asked me to come back as the executive director up in December. So.
Wow, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
What's reassuring to me is you knew what you were getting into. What a challenging job.
It can be, yes.
Mm-hmm. So, did you have to think about it twice?
I didn't.
Okay, awesome.
I did not.
Okay.
And so it felt like a natural progression for you.
It did, yes.
Okay, what did you do with Hope Network before, is Hope Network and the New Hope Shelter, they're totally independent, right?
They are.
So the word hope has nothing to do with either one of them, except it does offer hope. But you know what I'm saying?
No,
okay.
They're all independent. Yes.
Okay. Because the first time I met you was when you were working with Hope Network, and you were bringing the folks into the radio station that I used to work at to clean.
Yes.
So you have always had a community, a soft spot in your heart for folks who need help.
Yes.
Okay.
I have.
Tell us about smiling from ear to ear.
Tell us about your training in that, and how you got to where you are.
Well, I went to school in the human service field to help people. That was it's always been a passion of mine, and that is what I went to school for, and that's what I wanted to do with my life. So I started at Hope Network before I even graduated, and worked for them for about 12 years, and moved all the way up to supervisor. And then I left there and did some in-home case management for another organization. Didn't work for a while, and then I went to work for New Hope, and I've been there ever since. So.
You know, as a case manager with folks, you understand the day-to-day challenges that your clients are dealing with. And
yes.
So can you tell us about the segue of, these folks that you're dealing with and checking in on and helping one-on-one to now organize, to being in charge of the entire organization? That's a jump.
It is a huge jump,
okay.
Actually. And it has... it's been a transition for me because I was one-on-one with clients,
okay.
And it still is a little bit of a challenge, but we have 2 wonderful case managers there now, and they're doing an awesome job. So I have been able to back off and be able to run the organization the way I need to. So.
Okay, what is capacity at New Hope Shelter?
Capacity is 60.
Incredible.
We can have up to 60. Right now we have 19 beds set up in the women's. 8, actually we do have 20 now in the men's. Okay. We just got 2 more beds set up. So, and then we can have up to 20 in the family wing as well.
And how full are you right now?
Right now, we don't have any beds in the men's.
Okay.
We are typically always full on the men's side with a waiting list. It's
Is
very
that
rare,
right? Okay.
Very rare when we don't. The women's is a little bit different. We can have women and children in that wing. And sometimes we have more children than we do women because of the, moms with kids. Right now, I think we have 2 or 3 beds available for the women's wing, and then we are full in the family units right now.
Isn't it
So,
something?
yeah.
And I think that your organization and others that provide, crisis housing and things like Oasis, I think our local nonprofits have done a really good job of debunking the stigma that can come along with homelessness. And, just in recent months, I have a friend that works really, really hard, but just does not have a stable housing situation. And we talked about that at one point. And as a child, he had lived in a shelter in Cadillac. And what I realized is this can be generational, can't it?
It can be, yes, it can definitely be generational. But I always say that everybody is one step away of becoming homeless. You don't realize that until you start working with people and you realize, I could have been in that same situation. I just had the supports I needed.
Right. I mean, your house could burn down and you could have inadequate insurance or no insurance, or the
Yes.
list goes on. Mental health issues, employment issues.
Yes.
Everybody's got issues, Rich.
Michelle, some of your folks who are staying there, some actually do have jobs, right?
Yes.
They just do not have enough income to maintain an apartment or a home, right?
There are some people that have been there for a while. They've done all the work. They have money saved up, and they can't find stable, affordable housing in their area. So we what do? We keep them there, and they continue doing more work to be more self-sufficient until they can find the housing they need.
Are you an advocate for? Are you on any of the boards, or I'm sure you have a lot of people on speed dial at this point to try to help, but the housing situation and it's not native to Cadillac. It's happening all over, right?
Yes.
But what do we do? I mean, what are the if we had the answers? We'd be in good shape, but there really aren't any at this point, right?
I do not see any answers. I'm sitting on other boards, and Housing North is involved, and there are some things coming down the pipe, but it's a hard thing to.
If we were economists, how could we have predicted a housing crisis at this level? I deal in mortgage financing, and so I'm pre-qualifying a lot of buyers right now. And what I'm hearing from them, even after they get pre-qualified, is now I'm in a bidding war. Now people are paying more for the house than even what it was listed for. I can't find anything in my price range, meaning anything under $149,000 that's viable, and it's wearing people out looking for houses that are affordable.
Yes, I've heard that.
You've heard the same thing?
Yes, I have. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what the answer is. Mm-hmm. I wish I did.
Mm-hmm. Lots of folks living in campers. I've seen that. And now that the weather is getting warmer, okay, that might be viable, but for how long? When December and January roll in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's difficult because we have some people that say, well, the weather's warmer now, I'm going to go stay in my camper. That's all fine and good, but we're probably going to see them again come fall or closer to winter, unfortunately, because they can't, they're on every single waiting list. They're doing what they need to do, and they just think, well, I can give a bed to somebody else, and I can stay in a camper and give somebody else, but we're going to see them back, unfortunately.
What does the New Hope shelter need from the community in terms of support?
Right now, laundry soap is a huge thing that we need.
You had put that out on your Facebook
did.
page just a few days ago, and we were going to ask you about that, but okay.
Yes,
that's
like on the top of my head right now. Yes, liquid, we are not picky. We will take whatever we can get, but liquid is the preferred. People have donated the little sheets that you can stick in, they have these little sheets that you can stick in the washer, and it does everything, and they're compact and easy to store. You can get them on Amazon. But yes, laundry soap is huge right now. We always need coffee, creamer, peanut butter, any kind of healthy type of on-the-go snacks. We always set snacks out for people in the mornings. And then what we really, really need is we really need the monetary donations to sustain our budget.
And what do you use those monetary? So if somebody comes and hands you a check for $1,000. What is that spent on first?
Well, we are in the negative on our budget.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing.
So
that.
That's good to know.
So we do our very best, and for somehow it ends up equaling out, but we are in a negative, and we're working on our budget right now for the following year. but that it goes towards staffing right now. With staffing is going to go up in 26 and then in 27 again.
How do you know that? Because you're increasing your...
We're going to have to increase our wages because of the minimum wage going up.
Okay.
Also with the sick time pay that, I don't know, maybe you guys don't know about that.
We're familiar with that.
Yes.
That's a huge thing as well, that it's all incorporated in that minimum wage, and that whole act right now is it's all happening.
We had folks from the Chamber of Commerce when that was about to happen, and they were like, "This is going to be extremely confusing and very difficult for a lot of people."
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's one thing, and we're just in general our budget is what we're putting all of those monetary donations for, and we are open every day on Sunday, and CAMA has supported that. We have also Saturdays in the wintertime we've stayed open as well, and that costs extra money to be open during the day, 24 hours. So those are big days. And then...
I mean, at that point, during the winter and on the weekend, you have basic things like heating costs. And
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all gone up.
Right.
And as the cost of all of our our perishables that we have to purchase, lunch meats, bread, all of those things so that people have what they need, because we try to supply, we always supply 2 meals a day. We encourage them to take out a lunch when they go out as well, so they're not spending their money on that, and they're saving for housing.
And what is lunch out these days even? I mean, it's a lot of
Hard
money.
to, It's hard to find a lunch for less than $10 nowadays.
That's right, especially if you want something healthy. So let me ask you this: to any potential donors out there listening, is it best for folks to give you money and then you go buy groceries because you get a better deal on them? Can you explain that?
We don't necessarily get a better deal.
Okay.
So if somebody wanted to just go out and buy the things that we need and donate that or bring them to the shelter, we're perfectly fine with that.
Okay.
We don't get a special discount or anything on any of that. So
Okay, so that's good to know. I mean, if somebody finds a good deal on laundry soap or a good deal on peanut butter, these things that aren't perishable that you can put into storage.
Yes.
Great.
Yep.
Right? Well, you just never know when someone's going to be an angel,
Yeah.
Well, so next week is going to be an event that will hopefully help with the funding.
Yes.
And it's Bingo for Beds, which has happened in a couple of years, I think.
This is our third.
Number 3, so two in the rearview mirror. Tell us about Bingo for Beds, how it came to be, and how folks can participate.
Well, it was just an idea that talking with our board, and we, thought up something different. So we did it. This is our third year, and it's at the Moose Lodge. And we still have probably, I think, about 30 tickets left that we have not sold. We only have a capacity of about 120.
Okay.
Oh, good. So attendance looks good.
Yes. So yes, attendance does look good. They're $50 a ticket. You get a pizza from BC Pizza, who I'm giving a shout out to them as well because they are donating all the pizzas for us. There's like 6 different options.
I will tell you, any time we have ever gone to Lynette and asked for something, she is always there. So
She's
Lynette
amazing.
Wagrecki, we appreciate you.
Yes. So she is donating that. We have Cupcake Mafia coming in, and they're donating a portion of their goods, which is they're awesome. And then we'll have drinks there as well. And then you get so many tickets, and there's different prizes depending on what you win for bingo, and then there's a grand prize at the end. So.
It's a really interesting idea because as well as I do, there are so many people in the for-profit arena that want to come up with something different that isn't being done by somebody else. And
you mean in the not-for-profit arena? So many charitable organizations need.
Did I not say
you
that's
said for-profit?
I meant not-for-profit.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
It's so true. Golf outings. Right now, everyone's chomping at the bit.
Yes.
It's April 30th. We want to get, I don't even golf. I just want to be outside. You know what I mean? And you can kind of rationalize a day out of the office, right? If you're at a charity golf outing. But my point is, after a while, how many golf outings, especially for non-golfers, you want to involve everybody. And so hats off to you guys for doing something different. The other thing that I really love about Bingo for Beds is that it's not a hard game.
No.
See,
No, it's easy.
if you work all week, whatever, don't you want to, I don't want to say mindless. That's not fair because you do have to pay attention when you're playing bingo. And you do have to be somewhat loud if you win before someone else, gets it. But that's one of the things I love about bingo is it's fun and it's easy.
Yes.
So how does the night work for those who have not done Bingo for Beds before? How does it work?
So doors are opening at 5:30.
I don't think we've even talked about the date yet.
Okay. So
Got to include that.
Yes, May 8th.
May 8th.
Which is a Thursday.
Okay, this coming Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Doors open at 5:30. We
Okay.
start at 6. What we usually do is the pizzas will come in. People will get their whatever they ordered. They'll sit down. They'll have their tickets and all of their bingo cards and everything. At some point, I also want to put another shout out to Mahjong, I'm sorry.
It's all good.
This is where we can edit
Yep.
it. So let's
Montage.
hold on just a second. I'm gonna let this sit here so that when I look at the it'll be easier for me to pick out where we edit.
Okay.
Montage Media Films.
Yes.
Okay.
Montage Media Films. They came in and donated completely us. They filmed a bunch of stuff, did some interviews, client interviews, staff interviews. It was amazing. So that should be ready. And somewhere in the middle of the bingo, hopefully they'll have everything edited and ready to go, and we'll be able to premiere that night as well.
You're going to show that video to people.
Yes.
Awesome.
To your captive audience.
That's
Yes.
right.
It's a brilliant idea.
Yes, and we're going to be using that on our website and in all of the churches and everything, so that we're hopefully get some more supporters.
Right.
So that's going to be one of the things that we didn't do the last 2 years that we're going to have this year.
Bigger and better every year.
Yes.
How much was raised year one? Do you know? Because this is that was before your time, and year two was before your time.
Yes.
Do you have a goal in mind for this year?
I don't.
If everything was perfect, and you sold all 120 tickets, do you have a number in mind?
I think last year we did at least 15,000.
Ooh, okay.
I think.
Wow.
Because we had extra donations and other, so I'm hoping it's a little higher than that this year. That would be wonderful.
Okay.
I think the first year we did okay, and then we did way better last year. So I'm hoping that we do fairly well, at least a little bit higher than last year.
Well, it's
And
all
momentum, too.
It's never a good sign if the amount goes down.
That's right.
From your second to third year. I know at some point you're going to ask this question.
Here's the question.
Okay.
If money was no object, where would you take the New Hope Shelter? What would you do?
I would probably want to, first of all, give all of the staff raises. Their job is extremely difficult. They work with a lot of, and they see a lot of stuff. It's hard. And then I would probably put a commercial kitchen in,
Okay.
so that we can do some more cooking, and I would probably maybe expand a little bit more and maybe some transitional housing.
Oh,
But right now we're strictly emergency shelter only. But I think that we need to have some kind of transitional housing other than the very little that we have right now in our area.
Okay.
And maybe even some programming to help people transition, not just transitional housing, but there's another step in that some other shelters do that I've seen, that it helps them be more self-sufficient before they completely move out on their own.
Life skills, budgeting,
Yes.
these
Budgeting,
types
yes.
of things.
I would like to incorporate some of those.
How many are employed at New Hope Shelter now?
Right now, we have 13 staff total with myself and the 2 case managers.
Okay.
So-
And then you have shelter monitors
That's correct.
all day long? Or
They start at 2:00 in the afternoon, and they go to 9:30, 10 o'clock a.m. the next day. Sunday, we're open 24 hours, but that's our operating hours.
Gotcha. So you've
Monday
got
through Saturday.
If you've got somebody working 8-hour shifts on the weekend, then you need 3 people to cover that
Yes.
24-hour period.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
It's
we
never
usually-
ending.
Yeah, it really isn't. And some of the shifts we have to have 2 people on because there's just so much going on at certain times of the day. So
Well, and when you think about what it takes just to run a regular household in terms of feeding people and clean laundry and clean housing,
Yes.
and it's a lot of work just to keep the household up and running.
It sure is.
And then you've got all these regulations on how that's got to be done.
yes.
Let's go back to the event on the 8th, Bingo for Beds. Are you looking for sponsors? I want to shout out to anybody who may be listening that would be interested in sponsoring the event.
I would be happy to have some sponsors, and we would be happy to advertise that we have those sponsors. So
Right.
yes, for sure.
You know, one of the things that I found in fundraising for nonprofits is when we're talking about nonprofits in Cadillac per se, there isn't enough money in the budget to hire a fundraising, marketing, and promotions person.
Correct.
Those days and grants for that, those days are over.
Right.
And so I can remember, this is years ago, I was doing something for an Oasis event. Loretta and her sister Joni, who were running the Marina restaurant in town,
Okay.
called me and they said, Katie, you didn't call and ask us this year for our homemade red sauce, a marinara, because they had donated this in the past. And I mean, that's sort of like very taboo to forget to call, especially those super strong Catholic Italian ladies. They were huge community supporters. The family still is. And I had to apologize, and I said, you know what? I need to keep better notes year after year. You should have received a phone call from me or somebody else. Will you still donate? And I think it's important to let people know the community wants to help. It's just sometimes getting that ask, that push out, takes extra manpower, and when really right now you're in an all hands on deck situation.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
For sure.
It sounds to me like it would be a really good idea, and I'm going to plant a seed right now to all the factories in town and all the major employers in town.
Okay.
buy some Bingo for Beds tickets for your employees.
Oh, absolutely. Who doesn't want BC pizza?
Absolutely, and an opportunity to maybe win a little extra, you know, during that. So about 30 tickets left. So let's put that call out there to the factories and the major employers.
Yeah, send your perfect attendance people to Bingo.
Absolutely,
they're going to show up for work the next day.
Of course.
Yeah. Oh, it's a really cool concept. It's a really fun idea. The Moose has a history in town of being there for anybody in need. They really are quite an organization, you know, volunteer driven. I've been out to their fish fries, and you've got, you know, the members serving the fish, and I love that vibe about our Moose.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about, again, let's go back to what the needs are most right now for the shelter. And if folks can donate that or donate monetarily, what do you need most?
Most is probably monetary donations at this point.
Okay.
Along with like the few needs that I put out there, I don't know, I think last week on our Facebook. Definitely laundry soap. We're in desperate need of laundry soap right now.
And you're on Facebook as New Hope Shelter, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Give us the date and the time and the location.
And how to get tickets.
And how to get, because we haven't even covered that, how to get tickets. Yeah.
So date is May 8th. That's Thursday. Doors open at 5:30. Bingo starts at 6. You should be done by 8:30. So it's not a late night. And you can get tickets by calling the shelter number, which is 231-468-2022.
And you'll be home by the time the Tiger game is only in the 4th or 5th inning, right?
That's it. It's a hometown fundraiser. I love it. Very organic. Haven't heard of this one before. You know, you guys are the only ones doing it, and I just, you know, you don't ask a lot. The New Hope Shelter doesn't ask a lot. And so when you ask, I think it's time for everybody to step up.
Yeah. Why don't, in the couple of minutes that we have left, talk about the people that you want to thank most in the community for supporting this event? Obviously, BC Pizza.
For sure, BC Pizza, Cupcake Mafia. Gordon Foods has given us a gift card to use as well for the event. The Moose, for sure. And
your volunteers.
Yes, we have a few volunteers. We don't need a lot because it's a pretty simple event, but we do have a few volunteers. Some of our board members are volunteering.
That's the beauty of an event like this, is it doesn't require. I mean, a lot of events require a raft of volunteers, and that helps you out a lot here too.
Yes, it is nice.
Well, and again, you know, if you go to rent a venue and you're going to get charged full freight, that cuts into your profits.
Big time.
I know that from some committees that I serve on. I'm like, wait a minute, what do you mean we started at a negative $1,500 for the rental of the facility? You know, so again, incredible donation from the Moose to host you.
Yes.
Michelle Munn is the new executive director of New Hope Shelter, and put this on your calendar for Thursday night. It's Bingo for Beds, and Michelle, you have you're a welcome guest at our guest microphone anytime to talk about what you need. So,
Thank you for coming.
And I have a new sponsor for you, so we'll talk about that when we wrap the show.
Okay.
I got
Thank
one.
you.
You
That's beautiful.
Absolutely, but the work you do in the community is somewhat silent. You know, it's a population without a voice. I'm gonna get a little choked up. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Join us next week for Cadillac Unscripted, sponsored by Independent Bank. Same time, same station, 107.9 CDY.